Hello, everybody. My name is Rhett Nelson. I play for North Thurston High School. I'm going into my senior year, class of 2023, and I play tennis. I went to the Washington State High School tennis tournament for boys, obviously playing in singles. And I've played a lot of UTR events, and I'm a tennis player.
I want to talk about this state championship because this was very recent, junior year.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I say actually, yeah, because it was kind of funky the timeline.
Because of COVID.
No, because it's really weird. They have the tournaments at the same time for boys and girls, but the seasons, one's in fall and one's in spring, obviously. So our season ended, and then we had to wait 5 months, and then the tournament happened. So
Okay.
it is, yeah.
So you waited 5 months.
Yeah.
Did you know you made state during those 5 months, or were you waiting the whole time?
No, I knew that I won state because we had the season ended, and then the next weekend, so it ended on, I don't remember what day it was, but the next week on a Friday, it was the league's tournament, and then the next week after that, it was the district tournament, and then it was 5 months till state. So I knew that I was going to get in.
But 5 months is a long time from your high school season to a big state tournament.
Right.
What did you do to keep yourself in shape and in check, and to keep improving also throughout that 5 month period? What was your routine? What did you do to keep yourself at state championship ready?
Yeah. So I had a fitness routine that I was following that my coach gave me, which was awesome, very helpful since I didn't really know what to do. And then other than that, it was just a lot of playing matches, finding new people, different people to play against, right? Because it's good to play against. I like often playing against the same people because then you can sort of see how you've improved. But it's obviously really important to play against new people because you're going to meet people that you haven't played against at state or really any tournament, and you need to be prepared. So my coach set up some matches. I did a couple of UTR events. They're called flex leagues. And then yeah, just running at home, and I actually work at an athletic club, so I got to so after work I would just work out, and
So training is one aspect.
mm.
What about your health? What is your recovery type of routine? How do you take care of yourself, basically?
Yeah, it's true. The dynamic is a little bit different because it's a lot of cardio, but it's actually a lot of really quick sprinting and then walking at the end of a point. So it's not just a straight 5 mile run or whatever. It's a little bit different, but yeah, that's true. So one thing that was really important for me is shoulder injury prevention. I have a rubber band that I have some stretches that to do because my shoulder isn't the best, and obviously when you're serving at the hardest speeds that you can, it's gonna damage your shoulder. So there's that. We also just stretching routines before runs or before when you're playing, just to make sure you don't, that you're warm before, so you don't snap anything or whatever. But then other than that, I didn't have too many injuries. I'm not very injury prone, I guess. Just stretching and eating right before matches, so I'm not super full or completely starving. Just very important. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
Again, back to the state championship. What was going through your mind when you were there? Because you're probably playing a lot. Again, like you said, it's good to play different players. What was that like, playing kids all over the state? Did you feel intimidated, since it's kids all over the place, or did you feel comfortable? Were you confident? What was going through your mind when you're on those tennis courts with kids from both East and Western Washington?
Yeah, I was actually just super happy, like just the whole time, because I mean, when I lost my matches, I wasn't very happy, but I was just like so grateful just to be there, honestly, because what happened, I had the opportunity to do a postseason in my freshman year, But that was when I was a lot worse back then, and I was also playing doubles, unfortunately. So we got to leagues and we won one of our matches, but we had to win 2 out of 3, and we only won one. So, and that was a really cool experience. But then the next year, I didn't even have an opportunity because it was COVID. COVID shut down the postseason. So I was just the main thing, just to do well at leagues, because I kind of had a bit of an upset at leagues. And then to do moderately well at districts, and then just to be at state because we had to drive all the way down. I was just like so happy the whole time. But then it was also, yeah, once it got to the game time, it felt pretty intense. I recognized a couple people there, so I wasn't totally like all alone by myself. And actually, there weren't as many as I thought. But I was just like, okay, this is an awesome experience, but let's hunker down and try and win. So yeah.
Ever since your freshman year, what do you think was your biggest development in your game? What did you change the most that made you better?
I think there was sort of a technical aspect, and then with that, the mental aspect that sort of combined. I think those are the biggest differences. Basically, what happened was after leagues, it was a sort of a change in just my general play style and grip, but it really had an impact on me. I was kind of a small kid, and I've been playing tennis for a long time, so I was pretty good, so I'd play against people who were way bigger than me. But I wasn't like crazy strong or whatever, but my biggest asset was that I could just endurance my opponents, just outlast them, basically. That's what I was trying to say. So I hit very spinny, very loopy, sort of like Nadal, if you've ever seen that. Not over the head, but just sort of that general play style of just trying to outlast the other guy. But basically what happened at leagues is I just got beaten up. That's what it felt like, because these guys who were a lot bigger than me would just, pound the ball, and I would just lose every point. And so what happened was my coach, in my junior year, we got a new coach, and he had a very different play style, and he was like, hey, I want to show you this. And so I changed my grip a little bit. I hit a lot flatter, and I just sort of fell in love with it. It was a lot faster, it was more aggressive, and with that sort of came a little bit of a confidence boost. Like, hey, you don't need to just be scared of the guy and hope he misses. You can actually take control of the point and win it yourself with this style of play. And so I just really like that. So the confidence and the switch and sort of the play style was a big thing. And then I've just been trying to work on it ever since.
I want to talk about UTR, because a lot of kids in high school where I'm around don't really think about it. And they're just kind of playing high school tennis. And they don't really, and for those people who would like to play tennis in college, UTR is a pretty big part of it, would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think it is.
So I want you to explain that to me on how you worked on your UTR rating, and also give us your UTR rating.
Right.
And just basically tell me what it is and how you worked up your rating. How did you work yourself up?
Yeah. So basically, crash course to UTR, it's a rating system that's sort of trying to reflect as closely as it can to your or reflect your skill. Basically, what that does is it will take the UTR ratings of the people who play against each other, and it'll take the match score or whatever, and it will do a bunch of fancy algorithm math stuff. I don't really know the behind the scenes, and it will sort of try and balance out the two. So basically, I'll just give a quick example. What that can mean is, like, if a really good player plays a really bad player, but the bad player actually does like sort of well, like gets a couple games on this person who seems like they should just destroy them, the bad player's UTR might actually go up. So it's and the good player might actually go down. So it's sort of trying to not always level out, but just trying to more accurately reflect skill, and not just always wins, which is which is what like the ATP Tour might do, where you only get points if you win in a match or something like that. So that's basically what it is. So it's a really cool system. Like you said, it's important for college because I think that colleges are starting to use it as a way to sort of recruit their players, because it just shows you their past history and the players' past history, and they can make decisions based off of that. How I worked up to it, they have events on it on UTR, like the website. So you sign up, and then you play 5 test matches. I don't remember what I started at. I think it was like a 5 or something. I'm a 6.97 now, and just in between that time, mostly just playing against people who also have UTR, and then saying, hey, do you want to put this into UTR? And they say yes, and then you put it in, and your score adjusts. Or like I mentioned earlier, you can play what are called flex leagues. Those are the main things that I've done. They're called flex leagues because they're supposed to be flexible, because they just give you the phone numbers of a bunch of people you're going to play, and then you contact them, and then you can play them, and all the scores are in UTR. So that's the main thing that I've been doing. But you can also go to more tournaments. They set them up all the time.
Okay. So what's your TR? What's your rating?
6.97.
And what's the scale? So
Oh yeah,
So
I guess that's true.
Is it 1 to 10?
No, it's out of like 16, I think. I don't know why. I don't know why they did it out of 16. But then also, like, there's no limit. I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
But I think it's out of 16. Like when Novak Djokovic was a top player, he was like 16. That was like the highest you can get. I think it's out of 16. So.
Okay. Cool. So you talked about your development of your strokes. As of now, what's your play style like to the pros? Who do you implicate?
Who do I?
Out of the pros, who are you most alike?
Probably. I mean, I obviously no one could be just like a pro, and I have lots of things that I like to borrow from the pros. But main person, or the person that I reflect the biggest, would probably be Alexander Zverev. Just sort of the way that we hit is on forehand and backhand are very similar. So
you talked about who you impersonate the most. Who's your favorite tennis pro right now?
Right now, that's a good question, because I like to follow lots of players for like different reasons. Like one of my favorites, one of my favorite player is Alexander Bublik, or Sasha's Bublik, I think is what he's called. I just like him because he's known for doing underarm serves. Like, that's kind of his shtick. Like, he's also a good player, and he's been doing better. But there's just, like, lots of compilations of him just underarming serving him. And so it's fun to watch his highlights because you're like, oh, is something going to happen? Or something like that. Mostly, I like to watch players who do trick shots. They're fun. And then I also like to watch, like, sort of rising talent. That's always cool and sort of follow their... Or just any players, yeah, that are rising, and like to follow them.
So who's the up-and-comer right now that we need to watch out for?
Oh, probably Carlos Alcaraz. Dude, he is a beast. I mean, he is just climbed so fast. Just like out of the blue, like one moment we didn't know him. I mean, he won his first ATP Tour last year, and now he's in like the top 10. And yeah, he's like jacked, and he's just like an insane player. But my favorite one, I think probably Yannick Sinner. He's just like a great person, and like he's so calm, and he's like he doesn't flip out or anything on court, and he's so nice. And he sort of has the story of Carlos, where he just like out of the blue just skyrocketed into the top 10, and he plays really fast and just highly aggressive. It's actually really fun to watch the two play, because it's like, you know, it's like baseball. It's just like the ball is going by so fast. So Yannick Sinner is probably my favorite player. I like to follow him.
Tennis is a very mental sport.
Mm.
It kind of can make or break the match.
Yeah.
What is your mentality when you're in the match? What is the most healthy state of mind that you do during your matches?
Yeah, most healthy state of mind, probably just when I'm relaxed and, um, yeah, when I'm relaxed and when I'm enduring well, like when I have good endurance in this match. One of the biggest things, right? Tennis points, they can be really short and they can be really long, but we usually always really prepare for the long points and always getting the ball back. And so, and when I think the healthiest state of mind though is when I'm relaxed and I'm going back to the basics. I think playing a match, you can kind of get sucked down this rabbit hole of what to do. Right? It's a really daunting, thing to think about, but I've always played good or played well when I'm just like, okay, I'm going to focus on the basics. I'm going to, like, literally the stuff they teach you, like we teach kids or whatever, just like keep your eye on the ball and bend your knees or whatever. Like, it's just because you can forget those really easily and you can focus on, you can get sucked into focusing on what your opponent is doing or what to do next point, and what you really should be thinking about is this point in this moment and winning this one. So
Do you have any mentors for your
um,
tennis career? Who has helped you along the path?
um, yeah, probably past coaches. The biggest influence has probably been the our most recent coach. Unfortunately, he's not going to be our coach anymore. He was only here, or he's only with us for 1 year. But he was the one who introduced me to that new style, and just like gave me a ton of advice and sort of introduced me to professional thinking and everything like that. And he was the biggest influence on me. The longest person to be in I think my life is probably um, uh, sort of one of the people that actually just first taught me tennis. He works. He's the head pro at the athletic center that I work at. And he's the head pro for the tennis um, area, and so I talk to him all the time and stuff like that. And like I said, he was one of the first people to teach me to play tennis. So a lot of the fundamentals he taught me those things, and and yeah, and I've just known him for a really long time. So
What about your parents? How have they helped you? How have they have supported you? How much do they mean to you for your career?
um, they definitely mean a lot. It's really nice to hear after the match, like that they're very proud of me, and um, and it's nice to see them be proud of me, not just for my own sake, but sort of for them. Like I'm glad that they feel pride and that they helped raise me, and then they like to see me play well. So that's a really awesome feeling. And yeah, my mom. Actually, my mom has probably been the longest coach in my life, just because just when I'm feeling down or whatever, she's the one that helps pick me back up. So
How is tennis prioritized in your life? Do you want to? What do you want to? What do you want from tennis? Do you want to play in college? What do you want basically? What do you want to do after high school? Are you just gonna done? Are you done with tennis after high school, or do you want to keep going?
there's no way I'm done after high school. I'm definitely gonna try and play in college. Um, Unfortunately, I don't. My UTR is not where it needs to be. It definitely needs to be higher. But I've sort of thought about going pro. I mean, that's like a really long term thing, obviously, and sort of hard to think about in the future. Uh, but I think the best focus for me is, yeah, focusing on playing college where I can, and then sort of just seeing where it takes off from there. I mean, this is sort of my sport. Like, I've been playing it for, I think, 9 years now. So and even if I didn't go pro, or if for some reason I didn't get into any college team, um, then I would still just continue to play and just try and have fun because I love it so much. But yeah, focusing on college tennis right now, I think is my best bet. My best bet if I wanted to go pro too, because they would have opportunities to train and everything like that. So
All right. Thank you, Rhett. I really appreciate you coming out.
yeah,
Thank you.
no problem. Thanks for having me.
All right. What up, Sports Nation? Thanks you guys for watching. Check out the many interviewers. We're the future. All right. Bye-bye. What up?